Tell me when. Hello. Okay, as everybody knows, I'm new at this technology after 18 years in prison, so I think that I'm live right now. So thank you for joining. And so this is Bill from Inmate To Roommate, and I'm glad you guys had a chance to catch the finale. I appreciate all my fans. Bruno, I see you watching. Chris, Dr. Scholl, I see you guys watching. So I'm willing to take some questions here if you guys have anything you'd like to ask. I just want to give a shout out to my fiance. I had to keep things sort of under wraps about that, but I would just silly like to thank Mary for helping me with all this stuff, the interview tonight. She's really wonderful. I'm just thrilled to be with her, and she's beautiful. She's passionate, smart, caring, and I'm extremely blessed to know her. And she's wonderful. There's I prayed for a long time to meet somebody that thought like I did and really had a heart for God. And although I'm not perfect, a lot of people know that, but I do love God, and she loves God as well. And we both fight for victims. We fight for people that are wrongfully incarcerated. We're working with several people in prison that are actually innocent and in prison, so that can happen to you or one of your loved ones. I was a law clerk in prison, so I got to be familiar with these type of cases, and we're working with various attorneys around the country to help them. Also, some victim advocacy, where we're going to have crime victims on my podcast and on my official William Steele. Um, and I guess the big announcement is that since the show aired, it shot up to like probably I think it's one of the top two reality shows in the country right now, and I'm blessed, that I came out on top of that pack because I just tried to be myself. My humor is authentic. I tried to make light of situations. I Some people just don't get New York humor or sarcasm. For example, when I said, why don't you just evict Sharna? That was New York humor and sarcasm. People, take that any way you want. But it was just me being a little sarcastic in the moment because in reality, what am I going to do? Have a knockdown, drawn out argument with Mark and Sis House? They wanted to break the law, get me out, get me arrested, whatever their plan was. So I wasn't going to fall for any traps. My life's on a different path today. I have no bad wishes towards them whatsoever, despite what you guys witnessed and how I was treated there. And life goes on. So you guys saw that play out. You got to see beautiful Mary a little better, and so she's not one for me even necessarily participating in a reality show, but it is what it is. And I'm grateful she supports me in my decisions. And I'd like you guys to please hit subscribe. If you're a new fan, please hit subscribe on official William Steele. I'm trying to build up my subscribers on my YouTube channel. We're going to be putting out all kinds of stories up there. Interviewed a retired ATF agent, Ignacio Esteban. I did a review for a movie called Mob King, as you guys know, with Cyril DePazio. Phenomenal movie. He's going to be released soon. He's got a premiere coming up in Hollywood in a few weeks, which I'd actually like to attend, but circumstances won't allow that right now. But yeah, and also to Eddie Sicoli Films. I'd like to give a shout out to Tom Madden. Tom Madden introduced me to Mary. So Tom is a former vice president of NBC in New York, and he's a dear friend of mine. And she needed public relations representation for an incarcerated client, and he mentioned me, and we started talking, and the rest is history. So anyway, so if you want to support me in my my post-release activities, you can do that by buying some of my books. They're available on Amazon under William Steele, and I write true crime books from life experience, the real deal. I'm putting out books about criminal justice reform, and other books to help prisoners when they're in prison navigate the grievance systems and some of their post-conviction rights, to try to help them understand their rights a little better. I've been a law clerk for many years. I'm also doing a secular book about my life, and then I'm doing a faith-based version of my struggles with faith up and down, and how I believe God brought me through a lot of really dangerous circumstances that I put myself in. So that's enough talking for me. And anything you guys want to know, I'm very active in the fan pages and on my own social media. So ask away. Anything you'd like to ask. just ask that you keep it positive, because my life today is all about helping people. And I see some of my favorite fans are on there. I see you, Angel. Let me see. Clear Dr. Scholl. Look him up on Facebook. The man was a doctor. He was falsely convicted, did 13 years, and now we're trying to get his medical license restored. Please say hello to Dr. Scholl, a very dear friend of mine. Chris, I see you. Okay, let's start. We got any questions out there? I can't see it. Bruno, is Mark and Sean is still together? Um, well, I can't give away any spoilers, but that was a favorite line. I think they are. I see them, occasionally, and they're still just as miserable as ever. She put a falsified book review up about a book that she purchased a year and a half ago, and she got pissed off at the way she's being portrayed, and her personality coming out on the show. And so she went on Amazon and put a verified purchase review. Not that I sent her the book, like she lied on TV and said I did. So it's a verified purchase. I'm not allowed to really go out of my way to ask her to withdraw the review, but she lied on national TV repeatedly, and there's going to be more coming out about that. But yeah, she's just they're just pretty. I got to be careful, because I try to take the high road, but everything you saw on there, it's a reality show, yes, but it was in no way scripted or pretend. That's exactly how they treated me, and it was even worse when the cameras weren't around. So, okay, clear Dr. Soul. What's up, Les? This is Dr. Soul. What were you thinking when you asked Mark to evict Shauna? Had that occurred, it would have been wouldn't have turned out well. A threesome, ugh. Okay, we're not going to go there. But what I would say is I just addressed that. I think you were probably still in the restroom. But so I was being sarcastic. It's my New York sarcasm. I was just aggravated that, it was hot that day. It was like 90-something degrees. I was sweating. I wasn't in the best of shape coming out of prison. And I was irritated, and I was being sarcastic. I said, I'll tell you what, you want to do something, evict her. So it was just me being a little smart aleck at the time. It was a joke. But, to them, all my New York sarcasm, all my jokes, all my humor, we don't appreciate your New York humor around here. We don't appreciate sarcasm. Sarcasm and joking is sinful. And I'm like, really? Okay, I'll work on that. I don't want to be this, this drone type person going through life. I have a personality, and I suppressed a lot of it in prison, just because nobody's in the laughing mood in prison. but I do have a basically good heart, I'd like to think, and I try to make light out of situations, not people. So okay, who was that? I can't pronounce it. What is his name?
J-Ham17.
J-Ham17. Do you like how the production portrayed me? Yeah, I think it came across exactly what happened, because my biggest concern was me maybe getting on their case a little bit, was that I'd be perceived as being ungrateful. And I was never ungrateful for the initial invite. And it just went crazy, because those rules were not told to me beforehand. I was given permission to put the locks on the door. They weren't going to have a key, because it was about keeping Shauna out. Even my attorneys, they said, maybe you put a lock on the door, because you don't need a false accusation. She's coming to your room. And this proof, of what I'm saying. And like I said, more things come out. But so, yes, I'm happy about it, because it's a balanced portrayal of the frustration, and anything that people portray as me being maybe a little rude or not appreciative is really wrong. I mean, I was getting fed up. So my New York, maybe attitude or sarcasm was coming out, and they just don't get it. So, but I think I was portrayed accurately. What is the real scoop on discussions for anything further with A&E? Stay tuned. I'm trying to learn how to point to the camera. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I'm not allowed to say. So I know for a fact the show is doing phenomenal in the ratings. The network executives are very happy. Sharp Entertainment, shout out to everybody. Joe Ruzer, the producer. That's the guy whose voice you always hear in the background asking us questions. He was nominated for an Emmy Award for another show. My understanding is they offered him something else during my show, and he said, hell no, Bill's good, man. I want to stay working with Bill. So shout out to Joe. Thank you for sticking it out and letting me be myself. Um, am I still living in Indiana? Well, that's a state, and I'm in a state of flux. See, wherever I go, that's where we film. So if somebody's got a 2-bedroom house or apartment, you know, you know how to find me on Messenger or through my, what do you call that? A website. So if my website has my email on it. Um, Jane Green. Hi, Jane. Hi, William Love from Australia. All right. My book just arrived today. You bought Ghislaine, Sensational and Pure, and you can't wait to read it. Thank you so much. Spread the word out there because actually I'm trying to look for other true crime groups and podcasts to do interviews in Australia and the UK. I did Sean Atwood, and he's one of the biggest true crime guys out there. Sean Atwood, shout out. He did time in Arizona prison system, turned his life around, doing exactly what I'm doing now, which is true crime podcast, which I have now. It's up and running as of about a week and a half ago. And my true crime channel, which is on YouTube at Official William Steele on this channel right here. Please hit like and hit subscribe, everybody. I need those subscribers. Thank you for buying the book. I appreciate it. Any questions, just ask me over Messenger. Jayhan17, what are some of the things that Shauna would do while Mark wasn't there? Well, we try to keep this G-rated over here, but she would literally knock on my door. He'd go to work at night, and I'd usually be on the phone with Mary. It's a different time zone in California. We'd be saying goodnight or talking for an hour or two probably, or maybe longer than that. But so she'd come knocking, I'm like, what's up, Shauna? She'd say, hey, Bill, can I come in? I need to talk to you. And it would always be like some fabricated conversation or like, she knew I had a bad ankle. She wanted to give me an ankle massage one time. Just like weird, inappropriate stuff for a married woman who is a Seventh-day Adventist and just lies through her teeth all the time. And it was very, very inappropriate. And so, yeah, it was, she wanted to be with me. And she was very, very, very upset that Mary was in the picture. So, listen, even if I came out and I was single, I can't talk about her. I try to take the high ground, but I wasn't feeling her at all. Wasn't attracted to her at all, even if I was single, so she's got what she's got. Do you think, hey, Dr. Scholl, do you think Midwesterners don't appreciate your New York sarcasm? They would if they understood. No, I think a lot of Midwesterners do. I think in the case of them, they are just so pent up with like, I don't know what. Everybody who meets them just says they're miserable. And I mean, their families, even some of their family has commented negatively about them. I'm not going to disparage the family. I know every family has issues. But Shauna is known as being extraordinarily stubborn. I've heard that from people in her church, her family. She swears God talks to her on a regular basis. And I'm not talking about you're just so familiar and in tune with the Holy Spirit that you feel like led to do something or not to do something. She's literally like, I'm waiting for God to answer me. But then she'd come up with an answer that's hurtful. I says, in what way is God answering you that's hurtful to me or anybody else? Because she would gossip about a lot of people also. I don't think God would approve of that. They had a lady there before me, and they told me her life story and her struggles with drugs and the other things she was doing. And I said, Shauna, I don't need to hear that because that makes me think you're going to gossip about me if I confide something to you. So Bruno Coppola, A&E is going to have more shows to see how all the inmates are doing. No comment, Bruno. We'll see what happens, right? But things are looking good. It's a phenomenal network. It was really designed to be an experiment because recidivism, rates of return to prison in the United States, is skyrocket when there's substance abuse, alcoholism, or lack of adequate housing for somebody getting released from prison. Now you can see this was set out to see how we can hold down recidivism by having a non-family member take somebody in getting released. Now, Shauna and I were pen pals for a while, so she agreed to have me there. But, my family and I had a falling out over an inheritance. So a lot of slimy things happened when I was in prison. And so I just decided to avoid them. I forgive them, for the record, if you're watching. But, everybody wants to play the game and avoid me. And, I did all this and that wrong. Well, guess what? I had a cocaine problem. I got in trouble. and I got in trouble a few times. But the days of darkness caused me to see the light, and you only have one family, but they're the ones that have to live with what they did while I was incarcerated. Angel M, will they be having a reunion show? you know, I don't. I'm not certain. I think we are, obligated to do that. I'm definitely willing to, but I think somebody like Shauna would probably have to be seated on the other side of the room because she likes to talk like this in my face. My New York sarcasm drove her crazy. Me calling her on her bullshit drove her crazy, and you know, I just I'll do what I'm asked to do by the network. Whenever they're ready, we'll do what we have to do. We'll fulfill our obligations, and I've always gone above and beyond as far as anything they've asked of me, and so that'll continue. Who now? That's a really really touchy question because the answer is yes. Chris Brown. Now that we know you and Mary have a house, can you tell me the vicinity you're in? Is it my neighborhood? Like what part of Hillcourt? Chris, you know better than that. I don't need Mark and Shauna showing up at the house. Bruno Coppola, I think Shauna was a Seventh Day aggravator. She wasn't. That's a fellow New Yorker. I'm pretty sure, right, Bruno? Yeah, yeah. That's the New York sarcasm I love and I can relate to, and so thank you for that. She was. Let's raised. What's it say? 616. How long ago? What time frame was the show filmed? It's probably about a year ago, maybe. Not even. Um, we were still in COVID, so I got released during an outbreak at the prison. I did 18 years as a nonviolent offender, and at the end of my sentence, COVID struck my prison hard. People were dying all around. We were locked down, for like a year and a half. I gained a lot of weight because of being in lockdown, and they were giving us like 3 eggs 3 times a day, sort of thing. It was like it was pretty crazy. I know the whole world went crazy. My heart breaks for all the people that lost loved ones. My thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that suffered during COVID. Hey, Chris, the finale was great tonight, and you enjoyed it. Thank you. Well, I didn't even know what was going to make it into the final edit, and I was thrilled the way it turned out because that Fleabag motel was nothing nice. And the reason I didn't get into a better place, I had money, but it was late in the day. I couldn't find anything. They by the time we packed up the room and whatever, made a few trips. That was like the only thing available, and I literally just stayed there. I think a few hours and got the hell out of there. But the next day, I was in a very nice place. You're in witness protection, living in fun. All right, Bruno, I hear you, man. What family did you defect from? Stacks, Bill Stacks finally woke up. Bill, what's up, man? I've been messaging you all day. No, I'm just kidding. This is Bill Stacks chatting with Stacks. You got to check out his channel. This man sounds like the new age Wolfman Jack for you old timers, and he knows who I'm talking about. He's got a great voice for his podcast, and he does true crime, and he's in recovery. He did time, and he's got his life together, man. He's doing a great show called Chatting with Stacks. So if you want to throw that up on the screen, my followers hopefully will follow you too, Bill. Thank you. yeah. He was funny. It kind of played to my he was acting, I guess. I don't know what he was doing because he's so full of crap. But anyway, I just I was like, crap, man. I gotta give this guy a hug and at least look like that I have some feeling for what's going on because he's just that pathetic. So yeah, no problem, Stacks, man. Put your link out there and there. Go to Chatting with Stacks on YouTube. You're gonna hear the new age Wolfman Jack voice. He's got a phenomenal show. Shout out also to Hollywood Wade from Crime and Entertainment and Sarah DiPaggio, Mob King movie. Forget about it, Bruno. That's right. Chatting with Stacks. There he goes again. Thank you. I like to give a shout out to Dave Accavetti too. I've been on touch with him through here. He's got a new thing going on called Club TV, like the new MTV, where they film in clubs and do things in clubs. Check him out, and I shout out to Dave. I really only got to know him since I've been out of prison, but he seems like a pretty legitimate guy, and he comes from a little bit of a background, but hey, he's doing the right thing and he's making people happy, So he's got his hustle going on. What does that say?
They slept in different rooms. Did they ever? Oh my.
They slept in different rooms. Did they even fart for each other? I don't know. Okay. Tracy James. Hey, Bill. Hey, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. I love the show, too. It was pretty cool. So what's up next season? Are you on it again? Stay tuned. I'm not allowed to give away any spoilers. So, but thank you for watching. And I'll tell you what, it was, as you can see, they followed us the second we walked out of prison. And I just wanted to get lay down, maybe get in Mary's arms and give her a hug and just chill out with her or get something to eat. And I was dealing with, cameras 24/7 almost. And, you can see in the first episode, I was really tore down and tired and pale. And man, I'm exhausted. And it was a long, long, long day. Every day filming's long, but it was a great experience. So thank you again, A&E Sharp Entertainment. So happy you moved. Who's that? Iona? Tanya, excuse me. Hi, Tanya. So happy you moved out and got away from the crazy people. Happy for you, Mary. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I want to give a shout out also to Kerry Linsky in London, Sean Atwood, Danielle. Danielle, her last name escapes me, but it's Hidden Existence and Bigfoot Odyssey. On Hidden Existence, she gave me my first shot at an interview when I pretty much was in the middle of the filming and everything. And so I've been on her show, and they've given me a lot of advice and tutorials and stuff on how to get this rolling. So also to Cindy Seville up from New York, she wrote a book. It is what it effing is. So she's a breast cancer survivor. Shout out to her. I'd like to have her on my show during this month as well. Dr. Soul, doesn't failure prison officials to encourage positive lifestyles and being poor examples have the most to do with recidivism? I don't agree with that. I think it's just everybody knows that, there's good and bad officers, but, it can be discouraging. I mean, you have guys that don't have, much of an education in prison, and when they're abused or can't get anything in prison done, or they write grievances and get retaliated on. I've seen that many times. It's pretty horrible. I guess it can embitter people. And in some ways, I've lost property. I've had horrible things happen, at the hands of the officers, but it's not all of them. It's just good and bad. And so I don't know. I look at it more like what you do when you get out, because you got to look back. This wasn't my first incarceration, unfortunately. No, but this is the one that really opened my eyes and really made me want to change my ways and start doing something right. Tracy James, I did time at Bedford Hills. That's in New York. So I know about doing time. I think you were there with the lady from the Scarsdale Diet doctor murder. I forget her name at the moment. But there were some famous people there. That supposedly was one of the best women's prisons in New York State, from what I understand. I'm from Brooklyn, so I heard a little bit about it. Rain Crow? I did time in Oklahoma State Pen. It's hard coming out, getting on your feet. I'm super proud of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Coming from people that have been in prison, I really appreciate your comments, because you know what it's like. Dr. Soul, Rain Crow, you all know what the hell it's like. So, and then to be just that people think they're going to have you under their thumb. So one of the comments somebody wrote, they thought they had a pet in the house when it came to me, instead of a human being, who had my own ideas and own direction my life was trying to take. and they just kept trying to derail it. It was just it was getting tedious. What does that say, Mary?
What was the hardest thing to adjust to when you're gone?
Oh, what was the hardest thing to adjust to when I got out? I still have trouble in big spaces. Like, I was in the mall today. I'm going to be doing a book signing at a local mall and then speaking at Notre Dame University to some law students. And being around big spaces still kind of, it can be overwhelming. All the choices in the stores. I think being outside at nighttime also, driving in traffic, just the lights. The dashboard of my car, I have a caddy, man. The dash is awesome. I can have the music going and just riding down the street jamming. And I don't want to get out of the car. I just want to cruise all night. In Brooklyn, we used to cruise around Brooklyn or Manhattan. And, it's kind of brings me back. I'm hoping to go up there in a few weeks and do some book signings and some filming. Bruno Coppola, A&E is a great network. That's right. They took a chance on this criminal, So I hope I did him proud. Troy James, that's great that you have a nice lady in your life. And Mary's a sweetheart. Yes, she is. Okay, chatting with Stacks. Hit the like button. That's right. He's been schooling me. Chatting with Stacks. Bill Stacks has been schooling me on how to do these backdrops. And he had me on his show a few times. And so he's reminded me to let everybody know, please, guys, if you're watching, hit like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you a penny, but it goes a long way to me getting my word out and getting in a good relationship with YouTube. And I appreciate it. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit like, hit subscribe. So I'm learning the mantra. And go to my podcast. Where are we on Apple? We're everywhere. So I have a podcast out now. What's that? Cruising 86th Street. That's my neighborhood right there. Bensonhurst, Gravesend. Great series out now called Gravesend. I wish I could get a role in that thing, man. I'd love to be in Gravesend. Shout out to Gravesend. I love your first season. I can't wait for the second one. That's my neighborhood. Avenue X, Ocean Parkway, all throughout there. It's Sheepshead Bay, Bensonhurst. So I grew up in the day when we had Disco Roller Palace and, Patches and Trolley, teen discos, and then Romeo and Juliet and all that in Brooklyn. So, and of course, Plaza Suite. Oh my God, what I seen in that place when Sammy owned it. Dr. Scholl, didn't Mark sneak around having meat? What kind of meat are you talking about exactly? I'm not sure what kind of meat he was into. But, if she wasn't around, I could sneak in a little something. And I say, look, please, if I bring home some chicken or something, I'll give you half. Can I please have? He says, I'll eat it if she's not around. And he'd smash it and eat meat with me at the table. And then when we're done, he'd make sure he got everything and put it in the outside trash. It is so funny. Willie, the Mayo? I think that's the star on Gravesend, isn't that one of the key guys? I forget all the names, but I would love to get a role on that. Matter of fact, I saw the other day Andrew Dice Clay is on it. I'll tell you a secret. Years ago in the 80s, I had small parts on a TV show with Dennis Farina called Crime Story, and we filmed in Las Vegas. And at that time, I was doing a lot of this, and I was selling it, and so I know Andrew Dice Clay pretty well, at least from those days. He probably doesn't remember me because he became famous and I became a super thief and a burglar and a drug trafficker. But I was actually on a show with Andrew Dice Clay called Crime Story with Dennis Farina back in the late 80s. We filmed in Vegas. So that was Stacks. Strong Island TV in New York. Are you on tonight, Stacks? Send me your links. I jump in and out. Tracy James. What was up with Mark crying like a baby when he left? He realized he was being portrayed so crappy that he probably, my speculation, I guess, is that he was acting because he was just didn't have much emotion in him. He was being led around by the nose by Sharna. He was doing his own crap on the side, so probably he didn't care. And they do have, I don't like the outside of the house, but the inside of the house is beautiful. It's a gigantic house. And so they're in their own worlds, He's in his own bedroom on one side and she's on the other side. And, when I heard the stairs that were over my bedroom creaking at night, I know she'd coming down and he had left work and she's coming down. I say, Mary, She's coming down the stairs again. So she can excuse it away anytime she wants, but she's made there's some other things that we have documented. I love that Crime Story show. Yeah, I still love it. I got out and I kind of binged the whole thing because all this technology, smartphones, binging, all didn't exist when I went in 18 years ago. There was another movie I was in too, but I was just about 13. It was called Found Money with Dick Van Dyke and Sid Caesar, and I was just in a couple of scenes as an extra. They were interviewing somebody, and I'm waving in the background, and then I'm in a crowd scene waving. So I looked all this stuff up. I did another one called Elvis and Me. I was just an extra. Willie DeMeo. He's the writer. Okay, he's the main guy. I know who you're talking about. Gravesend. Oh my! I love Gravesend. I love Gravesend. Thank you. I cannot wait for them to start showing season two. Especially because it's in the neighborhood and it's so true to life to how things were back then. So don't forget, I haven't been back since I've been out of prison. I haven't been back to New York. We went to Chicago, stayed at the Trump International Hotel, and yeah, can't get into those stories, but yeah, it was a very good time. Oh yeah, it's definitely awesome to drive a car again. Tracy says it sure is. You can't get me out from behind the wheel once I'm there. Just keep cruising. So I might just get whatever's needed and take a cruise to New York. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. Okay, Chris, where are you? Yeah, I know you have to have a question. You asked me 1,000 of them on Messenger. Let's ask one publicly. Hey, that's my buddy, Dr. Soul. Anybody, please look him up on Facebook. Clear Dr. Soul. He's a man who spent 13 years in prison, innocent, lost his medical license, his practice, because a corrupt informant set him up on a deal after he ripped him off for some land. And he's one of the people that were, you know, trying to help him with lawyers and basically get back on his feet and get his medical license restored. So, if you guys want a friend, Dr. Soul, I'd sure appreciate it. Hey, thank you, Tracy. You seem like you're doing great, Bill. That's awesome. Thank you. I see you, Chris. I'm here, but my questions are too personal. Haha. Yeah, that's right. I'm taken. No flirting. You're married. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing you. Chris is wonderful. She's always posting such nice things like several times a day on Facebook. It's very encouraging. All right. So Bruno, season two of Gravesend coming very soon. Yep, it is. It is. I've given them all these shout outs. They need to look me up. Tell them, I lived on Lancaster Avenue between W and X Ocean Parkway. That's my neighborhood. So, oh yeah, I was happy to see everybody making progress. Everybody. It's growing pains. People getting to know each other is always growing pains. A lot of couples don't even know each other until they move in with each other. So imagine somebody who's been to prison with all that baggage, and then some really uptight, over the top, religiously, you know, manipulative people. Me going into that home. I like I said on the show, it kind of bugged me because Sean and I were friends. You know, she would always say, she took me as her deceased brother, and I respected that until I realized she had a crush on me when I got out. Then it got super weird. And so just a lot of things, I wish them the best. I know they don't wish the same for me. Tracy James, I want to write a book about my experiences in Beverly Hills. My advice: just start writing. That's what I did in prison. I was writing one about my life, and Robert Durst and Glenn Maxwell were going to be footnotes in these books. And then all of a sudden, the Jinx came out, and my co-author Gary Greenberg, he wrote the Beer Diet. Look it up, the Beer Diet book. Shout out to Gary and to my attorney, who's also happens to be representing Donald Trump, Peter Tickton, and he wrote a book called "What Makes Trump Tick," and that's available on Amazon. I say hello to Peter. So we're all writing books. You have to start it, do an outline, and just flesh it out. I started now, the books I'm writing now, I just kind of dictate it in, and then I can edit it once and then go back in, look for spots. Oh, I need to explain a little better over here. I need to explain a little better over there. Oh, I forgot this part. And I kind of just do it like that, very informal. That's called stream of consciousness style. It's not like I'm a trained writer. I just kind of write like I'm speaking. So anyway, guys, please, if you haven't purchased my books, I'd sure appreciate it. You just go to Amazon. First one is Sex and the Serial Killer: My Bizarre Times with Robert Durst. Now that book was profiled on the show on Inmate To Roommate, and I'm still friends with Kathy Durst's family. She was murdered by Robert Durst back in I believe it was like '82, and the poor family's been suffering all along. They have no closure because, as you know, he got convicted in California for killing our friend Susan Berman, and he got life and then died of COVID. So my first book is about my experiences with him, and then the second one is about my unfortunate relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. Because of the illegal things I was doing, I ran into Jeffrey Epstein in Palm Beach, and one thing led to the other, and I met her. She started confiding to me a few things, and I didn't want to stick around that house because there was too many things that would not sitting well with me. But so I wrote about that, and this book up on the screen, it's called Glenn, Sensational and Impure by William Steele. You can get it through my website up here on the screen, wherever that is, right there, or on Amazon. So you can read about that. And my shout out to the victims that all came forward against these people, that did the things they did to you. And, my thoughts and prayers are always with you guys. Tracy James, I'll make sure I leave you a good review, like not like Shauna did. Hey, Tracy, I appreciate it. It's crazy because she thinks it's a joke to put that up there, but I'm not going to get into it too much on here, but it's pretty serious because somebody looks to buy a book. They want honest reviews, and it was the most spiteful, underhanded, fraudulent book review. I don't know. I have people working on it now as far as, legally, but it's not cool. But thank you for that, Tracy. I appreciate it. All right. Well, I don't know how long we've been on, but I appreciate everybody who joined me tonight. Yes, Clear Dr. Scholl on Facebook. Mary and I helped him set up his social media. I think this year makes 11 months he's been out, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle to get on your feet. The man lost probably over $7 million between a con artist ripping him off and then his wife and business partner getting the rest. So, all right, guys. So I think we're going to wrap this up. It's going to be out on my my official William Steele. Please, you guys are watching this on YouTube. This is my true crime channel, as Bill Stack suggested. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'd like to see my subscriber base go up. Check out my books on Amazon or at williamsteeleauthor.com. If you want to contact me privately, just do it through Messenger or through any email that you find on williamsteeleauthor.com. And anybody else who's doing true crime podcasts or a celebrity, reform gangster, reform somebody with a positive story to tell, even people in law enforcement, if you want to be interviewed, there's no gotcha questions. I keep all my interviews positive, and it's about helping people. So you're more than welcome to be on my show. Contact me. And I have numerous interviews lined up. We did TMZ recently, 7 million views across all platforms and on Fox News. Harvey Levin is the first one publicly to say, breakout reality star William Steele. And here I am, I just got out of prison. I'm writing books. I want to do a podcast. But again, thank you, A&E, for taking a chance on me. There you go. All right, everybody. I'd like to say, I'm really appreciative of your support and encouragement and, everybody. So thank you so much for joining this season, and stay tuned. That's all I can say. Follow my channel and my podcast. Very, very grateful for that support. If you need any help, you have an incarcerated loved one, reach out. If there's something we can do, we'll certainly do it. Thank you. Everybody have a good night.